I don't care what you got going on. This level that I live at right now is available and accessible, possible for anyone.
Welcome to the Energy Upgrade Podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Grutman. And if you are a high-achieving woman, a successful entrepreneur, an inspiring entrepreneur, or just a woman with kick-ass big dreams, you're in the right place. If you value your energy, your health, if you want to be a biohacker, tap into longevity, if you want to raise the impact you have in this lifetime, you're going to have a lot of fun around here. As a second-time seven-figure business creator, certified health practitioner, and soul biohacker, I'm here to reconnect you to your energy, to the soul of your business, and to your superpowers. Let's go. Welcome home. Today, I have such a wonderful guest with me. Marta Hobbs is coming with us to have a powerful conversation about grown-up wealth. So Marta, if you don't know her already, she's an international best-selling author, a soul-led entrepreneur, a mentor for women, the creator of the Soul Care, which is a meditation practice to slow down the body. And she comes from a crazy background of childhood trauma, and built a $2.5 billion business with her husband to find herself, similar like me, on the ground with burnout and had to rebuild herself from the ground up. So Marta lives in Paris with her husband, and her story is just so extraordinary. I know you're going to be highly activated by this. So without further ado, let's just dive in. Marta, thank you. I'm so excited to welcome you on the Energy Upgrade podcast. Thank you for being here and being the beautiful light that you are. I'm excited for this conversation.
Thanks. I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. It's such a pleasure.
Yes, and you are here in full embodiment of abundance. You own the wealth codes after, building a $1 billion company. You are just next level. And you and I have actually been evolving in a mastermind group, and actually a couple different ones that we cross path. And I've just always was attracted and magnetized to you and the beauty and everything that you create in this world, and these incredible retreats that you create, and so it just felt normal for us to connect today. So I'm glad you said yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So where do we even begin? I would love for you to give us a quick overview of your story, and I know we all have so many stories within our story, but I would love to hear you share, all the things you've been through to be here today.
It is a lot, and but it's always like, what do I want to focus on? Like, what feels right to be tapping into and chatting about today, right now with you. And I really was thinking a little bit about it before we got on the Zoom call, and it just feels like, what I really want to bring forth and embody in this present moment in my life is, I was thinking about the word expander, and it's so not a sexy word because I have two kids and they both have braces, and, everybody's like, get the expander. I'm like, unsexy, like metal hardware, but maybe we can erase that. But when I think of myself as an expander for women in terms of, what do you think is possible for you? And then let me stretch that.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my story. And so I am very open. A lot of people ask me why so much so, because I wrote a memoir about my early years, which are rooted in childhood trauma. I was born in communist Poland, so I come from the land and environment of scarcity, lack of, using rations for food, eating stale bread for dinner, that's the world I was brought into, grayness. And at 12, 13, fleeing our homeland for fear of safety. My mother was imprisoned and kidnapped and imprisoned. She was a journalist speaking up against the government. and she escapes. And so my parents decide we're going to flee Poland because it's so unsafe, immigrate as political refugees seeking asylum in the United States. So I'm 13. I arrive in New York City without a word of English, this is before the internet, knowing nothing of the culture. And so to come from that, the early beginnings of oppression, what it meant also as a woman to be speaking your truth, like you got killed for that. You got imprisoned for that. So coming from that through a very difficult through the very difficult years of a teenage girl in a brand new culture, brand new world, navigating that, to a woman who builds a business with her husband that generates $2.5 billion in revenue over its 14 years of existence. And I talk about this story because I don't think there's anything unique about me. I think we all come from some sort of a challenge that we get to, or we each have our hero's journey that we get to travel on. And it's just what we do with the pain and the lessons and the wisdom that matters. And so I talk about all of the pain, everything I've overcome, just to, in particular, inspire women that I don't care what you got going on. This level that I live at right now is available and accessible, possible for anyone. I didn't, I don't have any special anything. I didn't read a special book. I didn't manifest or, do affirmations for extra few days. So now I get it. Like it's here. It's just, are you willing to take the path that requires courage? Or are you going to stay comfortable and remain in the status quo? And it's okay if, not all of us are here for like the big things. But for those of us who have that longing and that deep desire, and we're honest about it, we're in touch with it, it's in you for a reason. And so, we grew our business. I raised 2 children. I'm married for 27 years. And now I get to lead women that are looking to do more, to be more, to have more, to embody more. And I just come along their side to encourage and guide as they navigate that.
Wow. What a journey. What a journey you've been through. And I love how you're just radically saying, I don't care what you've got going on. This is available for everybody, because we are so good at finding excuses. But when we hear your story, literally there was no reason you could have built something of that caliber. There was nothing, like it wasn't written in the stars for you at all, but yet you did it and you made it happen. And look at what you're doing right now, right?
Yeah, like there were plenty of excuses, right, along the way that I could have been like, I'm just going to check out right here. I'm going to get off the train. This is my stop. And for sure, there were moments, and it took 10-year journey of really deep and intense healing. So I built my business with my husband, from the space of pushing, striving, letting my not enoughness and immigrant wounding drive me to succeed. So like really that's what pushed me sort of externally. Internally, in reflection, now looking back, I think I always knew that I was meant for more, but I wasn't in touch with that part of me. So it was all external stuff, to be successful, the American dream, chasing the next thing, looking at what everyone else is doing, wanting to do it bigger and better. And so we built this small company that then became an empire, this massive thing. And we sold it 12 years ago. And I retired at 39, moved to Paris, France to begin my like fabulous retired life. And everything crumbles for me then, right? So my inner journey doesn't begin until I push myself as a human being, as a woman, so far, so hard that my body gives out. I start having health issues, depression, anxiety, daily panic attacks. I mean, it feels like death. That's what it takes for me to hit pause on life unwillingly. I didn't want it, and take a broader look at what is happening? Who am I? What am I doing? And so I really begin to slow everything down, and dissect, how did I become the way I am? How did I get what is going on? And so that took a decade. So that tells you how severe the trauma was that I was carrying in my body. So when I say I don't care what you've been through, like I grew up with tanks rolling through my streets in my city as a little kid, watching buildings go on fire. Our home was regularly raided by, communist police. And there was a ton that I worked through. And I didn't get to the next level because I decided I was going to transcend it or just pick a higher vibe. I went into the darkness and the depths of it and I sat with it. And so for me, there's such tremendous power in that. And I really think that is the resilience that that gave me. And then my capability to sit with and in the darkness. It's like there's this deep grounding and rooting, and I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. That then allows me to, like, it's that root down to rise up. And I'm like, and there's more, and yet there's more, because I'm constantly cleaning what's in the way of alignment with my true identity, which isn't the darkness I grew up in, but the lightness, the limitlessness, the abundance that comes with tuning into the soul.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just taking a breath here. So beautiful. I want to touch on this darkness piece because we're always looking for the quick fix. Of course, this is also what we are being shown, whether it is through pharma, whether, that there's always a quick fix. And having the courage to go and visit our dark places, it's so hard, but it's the only way through, it's the only way out. And like you said, that's where you get to plant your roots. I always say, seeds grow in the dark. If they don't have darkness, they wouldn't be able to have roots. So this is an important conversation to bring awareness to the importance of this inner work of, even though it may feel scary and it may feel like this is not something we want to go back and revisit, it is so needed because it's the only way out. And so thank you for sharing that. It's so important. And I'm just thinking about you, who you saw your mom being imprisoned for saying the truth as a journalist. So imagine the wound that you had for speaking up, for using your voice. I'm assuming you had to do a lot of work around your throat chakra.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's huge. So yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So,
No,
and
and
now
that's just one. It's like that's just one.
one
And
piece.
right. That's just the one piece. And so it's amazing. I had moments, when I was in like deep trauma therapy where this isn't fair and like how much more can I handle? So it's like, and I didn't want, like you said, it's required to go into the darkness, and that's where the deep healing happens. But I tried the medicine route. Like it was like first I tried skimming
Of
just the
course.
surface.
Of course.
And so, and there's nothing wrong with those steps. They're all, and like even being on antidepressants, right, for like almost 3 years, it's stabilized me. I was just, my nervous system was so screwed up. I needed something. And it was like, I always say it's like peeling an onion, like you go a layer at a time and then deeper and deeper. But I really do agree with you. Like for it to be lasting, you have to tackle it at the root. Like, where does this wound come from? Is it even mine? Speaking of, the fear of telling the truth. Like, I'm sure my mother grew up with that, and her mother, which World War II times. So it's looking at all that,
That
it's
lineage.
intense. Yeah.
It's so intense. And this kind of work, unfortunately, because same thing as you, I completely fell to the ground after selling my business and lost my identity and was like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Like, what's next for me? Am I done? Like, what else? Like,
Mhm.
and it just was so excruciating and so hard and soul wrenching, really. But that's what I needed to awaken and remember.
Yeah.
Um, but it just felt like it was taking forever. I feel like I can say it took me 4 years, and that is so freaking long when you're used
Yeah.
to hustle and be successful and like
Yeah.
things like boom, boom, boom happen. Like 4 years to heal, my body physically, detox, like just do all the emotional work, visit my darkness that I didn't even think I had in me. I always thought, oh, I'm a very bright person. I'm light. Oh boy, I was just,
Yeah.
yeah, I was
And
blown away. Yeah.
it's so funny because then it's like then there's this whole idea of like I had to pause my life for 4 years. And it's like, no, 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 that is actually living.
Yes. Oh
It's
God.
doing that. Like now I do that daily, slowing everything down, looking at what's coming up, sitting with the stuff before you even move into, okay, what am I actually going to accomplish or do here? Like that's we're human beings, like we're just so complex. And there's, especially if you come from, building a business or corporate, we're just taught to function like machines. And as women, we're so conditioned to, it will be so easy. You sell a business, you pour yourself into the children, you pour yourself into volunteering, into, being all this, the stay-at-home mom. We just are constantly outwardly, externally focused. And it's like I always bring women back like to the heart. And it all starts with the self. And then from that full cup, that identity, knowing who you are, pouring yourself out from like the extra love, like you're so full of your love for yourself that you can't help but like it overflows everywhere you go. What a huge difference than doing stuff to feel loved by others in exchange for what you do for them. Like that was life changing for me.
I was going to say game
Yeah.
changer. And I know maybe some people listening, if you're like on your healing journey, you may feel like these words sound selfish. You might be like, well, that's really, but when you truly understand the meaning of this and you actually start witnessing the ripple in your life, it's incredible. It's addictive. And for me, it's really helped me set my new standards, my new boundaries. And I always say to my clients, like I have a 2 hour morning ritual every single day, wherever I am in the world. And my clients are always like, that's crazy. I'll never have that kind of time. I don't have that time. I take that time because I know that if I don't take this 2 hour minimum before seeing clients, before doing anything else, I'm not going to be coming from this grounded place. I'm not going to be as
Yeah.
sharp, as open. My heart is going to be racing and instead of being open to
Yeah.
receive. Like everything shifts, everything. So I'm glad you're
But I
saying.
think that's why I really resonate with what you're saying. That's why I think it's because you've seen what happens when you don't. So the way
Mhm.
you ran and created your first business, you've reached the burnout. And so people often ask me, would you change anything about your past and everything you've been through? Like, absolutely not. As awful as it was, that's how I needed to learn those lessons. And now sometimes it's difficult to explain to someone who hasn't been to those dark places, hey, if you take 2 hours every morning, like you're going to prevent a lot of pain because they haven't experienced it. And so it's so hard when you know the gift that it is when you do take that time in the morning. I do the same thing. You want to prevent someone else from going through what you went through. And you're like, I know what it is. Like the secret is you got to take the 2 hours. But it's hard to watch others on their own path and to honor them wherever they are. So it's like if you're not taking that time, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just that's just where you are on your journey.
Yeah.
But 10 years from now, when something happens, you're going to remember this conversation and you're going to be like, oh, now I get it, you
Mhm.
know? Yeah.
Yes. That's why the universe is always working for us, right?
Yeah.
And it's important to have these moments where we can reflect and contemplate and be like, huh, okay, I'm noticing a pattern, or this keeps
Yeah.
happening. What's the message? Is there something I need to learn here?
Yes.
And then we can transcend it from that place.
Yeah. And if
So
you're racing and rushing, you're never going to notice that. So like those 2 hours first thing in the morning, I mean, that's what I did before we got on our call. Like
same,
just
I
sat
know.
with myself, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and just quick anecdote. So I always have my big headphones, and I have my music, and I meditate, and I dance, I do all my things. And this morning, I didn't see my daughter came in. I do this, and I have a room, and like she creeped in, and she just sat there. She just watched the whole thing. And at one point, I was like, oh my gosh, how long have you been here for?
Oh,
And but then I thought, actually I'm totally okay with her seeing that, witnessing
yeah.
that, because this is the model I did not get and that I needed, but now I'm so happy to be modeling that also for my kids. And I always joke and say sometimes when I'm like maybe on the weekends, I'm a little bit more short-tempered or irritable or whatever because I had to skim on this. They're just like, Mom, I think now you need to go and meditate. Like you go. They're just kicking me out because they see the difference. There's literally a before and after. And they
Yeah.
much prefer, the after version. So that's
And
exactly
that's
the
how you know it's not selfish, right? Like, so it's like
exactly.
that's the biggest gift we can give our loved ones is if we take that time and take care, nourish ourselves from the inside, we show up as completely different people. And so if that's not the biggest gift you can give someone that you love, show up as the best version of yourself, then I don't know what is, you know? They see
Totally.
it. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it feels like the perfect segue because as we are recording this, we are about to enter the peak of the Lionsgate portal. I know that when this will air, it'll be a little bit behind us, but still in the energy. So it feels like it's a great segue. You've been talking about using the word more a lot, and I just
Yeah.
feel like that's the perfect word for the Lionsgate portal. Um, I don't know. Let's go there. Let's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what what is how is someone like you, how are you stepping up or like how are you preparing your energy for this important time? Like what are you calling in? What more?
Um, I know I often reflect on the fact that everything that is part of my life now is something that at one point wasn't even a thing I could imagine. You know, like I spent 2 months every summer in the Caribbean. As a little girl, I didn't know there was something called the Caribbean, you know? So when you think about it, like, what are you calling in? What's next? How often do we even limit ourselves because we're like, okay, it's going to be a house, and you imagine a house like this because that's what you know. What more is out there that's possible and available that you haven't seen, experienced, or dreamed of? You know, and that's why I think it's so important to be, you know, those of us who love to lead very often do this thing. We surround ourselves with women who want to be led by us. And then we get our identity from that. Like, I'm here, I lead them, great. I am super intentional about also surrounding myself by women who expand me. I have no place leading them. I put myself in their energy, in their company, in their environment, so that what I think I'm calling in, which feels massive, they're like, girl, that is nothing. Come and see what we're doing. Come and see the levels that we're playing at. And so I kind of look at it like that. How much more can I stretch what I'm open to and available for? So then I can be the example for others. And that is my intention for, you know, Lionsgate 88, what the portal that it opens, leading into, I have a retreat in Paris in the middle of September. Calling in, what I'm calling in is the women that are meant to be there for the, you know, 2.5 day experience, which is next level. You know, like if what do people who have created companies at $2.5 billion levels, what do their lives look like? And when I spend 3 days with someone like that, how does that open, expand me and totally blow, the limits of what I think is accessible to me? Because I put these women, in the highest end hotels. We hang out at Dior. We go to private events. We eat at Michelin star restaurants in Paris. We have an elaborate photo shoot where it's like a glam hair and makeup thing. Like they feel it. And the invitation is to then, can you slow down, disconnect, so much so that you actually become infused by the energy and you begin to open to it, receive it, and embody it. And what happens is really interesting. Most of us, our capacity to receive is actually really small. Mm-hmm. And so we say we want things, we don't understand why they aren't coming. And of course, it's because we block them. But when you come to a live experience like that, with someone guiding you who can watch you live, oh, there's a massive blind spot. Look at how you're shutting down I had a woman one time who really was excited about the photo shoot and the clothes and the makeup. And we're in it, and she has her face done and this beautiful gown she wanted on. We're about to go outside to shoot the photos. And she totally freezes, and she wants to wipe everything off and go to her room. And I just pause everything right then and there. And lovingly, I'm trauma informed just because of my own story. Slow her down, sit her for a moment. I mean, like, let's slow this moment down completely. And here's what I see happening. So how can she then safely open to what she's always wanted, but is like holding up this big, massive no? And it's life-changing every time. And that is my favorite thing to do, And so I'm calling in women for that experience. And then for myself, I'm calling in the next thing, whatever that might be, my life is pretty comfortable. And it's hard sometimes to be like, okay, I'm going to place myself in an uncomfortable. And my husband's actually always like, why are you doing that? Like, why? Everything's great. And I'm like, it is my mission to always be evolving and growing. And that requires leaving the comfy and cozy hotel room and doing something that's going to stretch and challenge me and maybe even hurt a little bit so that I can walk myself through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. So I feel like I need to book my flight to Paris now.
Come on down. I love it.
Like your events, like Four Seasons and it looks so incredible. And you do them just not in Paris, you do them everywhere. That's sort of your business model.
Yeah. So it's, the places I love. So like it's always, I have special connection. I get activated in certain places. And so I just honor that. And so I have an event in the south of France coming in October at the Four Seasons there. I'm planning something here in St. Bart's, something in Miami and in New York. So sort of like the places that I visit and I love, usually partnering up with like a really high-end hotel. Dior is usually involved just because, funny story, for a long time, I was blocking my own abundance. And so I would never shop designer until like maybe 2 years ago. I had this massive awakening when I first went to a Dior store. I got invited to go to the fashion show. And first time I put on a Dior gown, like I just started to see how easy it was for me to go shop for the kids or shop for my husband, and how much I love dressing up and looking beautiful, but I was like, I wasn't allowing it for myself, Mm-hmm. And so I love doing that, like putting women in those places too. Like, oh, that's not for me. Well, why not? Mm-hmm. What's that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and just a part of the experience too is everything is planned. As women, we love to control our experience and like, no, I got it. I have the details. We're the organizers. Like, no. You get picked up at the door of the aircraft, and your only job is to receive. And that is sometimes triggering in itself. So again, it's just working
Yes.
all
Gosh.
that, all the things I struggled with, now I'm like, this is what I've learned. And this is how it expanded me, like really allowing those things into my life took me to a whole new level, wealth wise, abundance wise, self love, self worth, like stretched me in all those places. And I feel like really allowing me to get in touch with my dreams, my desires, the energy of like play. We become the responsible wives, mothers, great, but often at the cost of the little girl inside who just wants to like run around and giggle and whatever. And so I bring women back to that. It's almost like living a fairy tale for 3 days
Mm-hmm.
and watching how that changes you, because you do come back into a part of yourself that you just lost touch with, which happens, during life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you are saying this, I know you're a line 6 like me in human design. So of course you are really being connected to the places where you are activated, because I do the same. Like I'm hosting my first retreat in October to a place where I was just like, oh my gosh, somewhere like this exists in the world. Like what? Right? So we have to follow these intuition or these activations for ourselves, knowing that others will need that. Yeah, they will need them to be activated as well. So it's super
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that you're doing that.
Mm-hmm. Are you on your journey back to you? Are you trying to cultivate more energy, more wealth, more heart, more alignment in your body, your mind, your soul? If so, that's exactly why I have created the Soul and Wealth Club. This club is a sacred membership for women who are ready to heal their bodies, their mind, and soul in order to live a life of purpose with more ease and flow. Now, the intention of this club is really to offer you a space where you can be in the energy of healing. You can be in the mindset of expansion. You can be and tap into the energy of possibilities once a month during our 2-hour virtual retreat, as well as ongoing messages that I will send you every single week with some deep activations also that you can do as meditations to anchor the knowledge. But really my goal with this space is to help you create aligned actions and momentum in your life, in your business, in your relationships, so that you can feel yourself expanding. There's nothing worse than the status quo in these days and age. We are each responsible for our own healing, our own growth and evolution. And so I have created this membership, this space where you can come in and tap in, be in a high proximity container surrounded by women who are all on the same journey, so that you can really level up. You can really live this life of your dreams. You can co-create with me, with the woman in there, with the universe. And so that this club, the Soul and Wealth Club, can become your sisterhood, a place where you can not only rediscover yourself, but also feel supported doing so. Women are designed to heal and rise together. And so this place is for sure the place you've been craving. This is the room you need to be in to reach new levels of transformation. And the club is available at only $222 a month with a minimum of 3-month commitment, only because I want you to feel this energy for at least 3 consecutive months in order to feel a true shift in your life. And let me tell you, from the feedback and the comment of the women in the urn there, it's incredible. We are creating magic every single day. And this is, I can tell you, this is the room you need to be in if you're wanting to expand and rise this year. The link is in the show notes, and you can always DM me if you have any questions. I hope to see you there. All you have to do is signing and you'll be in. I hope to see you there. So you said something interesting that I'd love to go back to, and it's the tricky part of manifesting and calling in when we don't really know what else is available out there. So yeah, how do we do this? Because sometimes we're calling in the things that we know, we think are our next things, but by doing so, we're blocking the other maybe 10x things that wanted to come in. So that's always the tricky part. So how do you navigate that?
I mean, why is it one or the other? Like, why can't you have what you want and then the more, you know? So it's like my belief is I get whatever I desire and I have space for more, you know? Like I'm always working on how well am I receiving? How well am I tuned into the signs that are here for me? Oh, this is for me, this is for me. While at the same time remembering, okay, I have a book. My big dream is one day Oprah is going to read it and it's going to be a movie, right? Like that's my phone. The screensaver of my phone is Oprah holding my book, right? Everyone's always like, oh my God. And I'm like, no, it's totally photoshopped. I'm just manifesting it. So while I'm manifesting that, like just sending out that signal, universe, there's a whole other slew of stuff that I'm daily receiving and manifesting. Like it's all of it. It's just how open are you to what's and often to what's already here. Like so often we look at the thing and we miss what's already present. That is the answer that we're actually
Yeah.
still pursuing, but it just looks a little different than we
Mhm.
expected.
Yeah, the gratitude for what is,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
often, yeah, we're always wanting the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing,
Yes.
when in fact, sometimes we have a lot of it already
Yeah.
here.
I think gratitude and also what's been massive for me is celebration,
Mm-hmm.
celebrating myself. Like birthdays for me were always like I was disappointed because it wasn't quite what I wanted, but I didn't want to be picky or too much. And then 4 years, I'm turning 50 in September.
Oh my
4 years ago, I threw myself a birthday party, and it really also was one of those things that changed. Actually, the idea for the retreats came from this because it was this ideal, beautiful experience, an intimate dinner with four women in a penthouse suite at the Four Seasons in Paris. Like we ate in the middle of the pandemic, mind you.
God. Mm.
We ate this beautiful dinner overlooking the Eiffel Tower, and then I was like, "Holy cow! Like, why did I wait 46 years to have the most perfect experience?" And so ever since then, like I celebrate myself on my own birthday. And that just opened up like some gates into all of a sudden I started being invited to all kinds of stuff just because I thought that is accept I'm open to that. I'm worthy of it. I'm deserving of it. And then, hey, do you want to come to a private Christmas dinner at Dior? 8 people? Yeah,
Yes, I'm on my way.
right. So like it's just like place yourself in the environments that will elevate you and show you like this is accessible and it's available just because you chose it for yourself. So choose it for yourself more often, you
Yes.
know?
Oh my gosh, this is so good.
Yeah.
And I love this because I'm throwing myself my own birthday party next week, for my 40th. And a lot of
Yeah.
people were like, why are you like doing everything? Why are you? And I'm like, this is so fun. Like I get to
Right?
actually, and now I'm asking people to bring um you know, parts of them that they want to throw in the fire. We're doing like a Burning Man theme, and that so that we can close chapters and celebrate and dance through the night. And I'm just like, this is going to be just like, it's all the things I love. And I'm not here waiting for people to figure it out. I'm just like celebrating it.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation with a client the other day who it was her birthday, and she was like, "Oh, I'm not a big birthday person. I don't really care about my birthday. It doesn't matter. I just go, push through my day." And I was like, "Excuse me?" Like that is exactly what the invitation is, it is what we talked about, that overflowing cup. If we are
Yeah.
here sitting in lack, thinking, oh, I don't matter, it doesn't matter, well, that's the signal we're sending. That's the frequency we're sending. Versus if we know we are worthy, we are enough, we are full, and we are celebrating that fullness, then
Yes.
everything changes from that place, right? So,
And also, I love this. And then also, in order to throw yourself a birthday party, the perfect birthday party, it requires for you to really be in touch with what you want. And
Exactly.
most women are not in touch with what they want. They're very much in touch with what their children want, what their husband wants, what the world wants them to want. But very often, I remember for me on my journey when one of my mentors was like, what makes you happy? What makes your heart sing? And it was like, when my kids play together, when the whole family, and she was like, no, 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 no. You, like, what like livens you from the inside with joy? And it took me months because I was so disconnected from that. So, a good place to start is like, well, what do I not want? And it was birthdays that make me feel disappointed every time because I wasn't brave enough to ask for
What you
what I
wanted.
truly desired. Right, right.
Yes, this is so, so good. Yeah, a good place to start is to do the like, what do you not want? That's a great,
Yeah.
fact-finding mission.
Yeah.
And the thing too is the more you don't give yourself what you need, the more you're not showing others what you like and what you desire. And sometimes we
Yeah.
get mad because we get gifts that we're not happy with or whatever. And it's like, well, are you even able to give yourself these things, or is that something that you are embodying? Because if you are, and this is something that shifted for me dramatically, like
Yeah.
now, even my kids, they know exactly what is going to make me happy and what I'm not going to care about. So it's so,
Yeah.
so interesting because I embody that every single day.
But I think it's because we're so conditioned to be not to be high maintenance,
Of
oh,
course,
it's like
a
a
good
bad
girl.
thing. Right. And so I'm like, screw that. Like, I have high standards for myself. And if I have high standards for myself, it's pretty apparent to others what it is that I like, that I don't like. And how often do you get a crappy gift, but to be polite, you're like, oh my God, that's so nice. I remember for my 40th, I got a big box of pots and pans for the kitchen. I was fuming because that told me, like, here's my role. I'm going to take these and I'm going to cook the person that gave me this pots and pans. I'm going to cook something for them on my 40th birthday. And I'm like, and of course, what did I do? Thank you. That's so nice. It's amazing. You just moved into a new home. Reinforcing, please, more pots and pans for the next birthday. And so it just takes a few of those uncomfortable conversations and situations where you let others know this is what I love and this is what I don't love. And if that is uncomfortable, it was very uncomfortable for me,
So hard.
like,
Hmm.
but it we we are repressing parts of ourselves and then expecting others to read our minds or and that's just a recipe for disaster. So now I just no longer apologize for what I love, what I don't like. I can ask for what I need. And a lot of times it just comes down to celebrating myself. And like if people love me, they observe things I give myself, it's much easier for them to know how to make me happy on my special day. So, like you said, we model it. And so, if you're settling for the pots and pans, you're going to keep getting more pots and pans.
I just love this example. I hope I'm not going to be getting pots and pans next week. Hopefully my husband's going to listen to this. No, no, no. I know he wouldn't. Um, so I'm just curious, maybe in closing, so how does Marta celebrate herself? Like what do you do for yourself that you love?
Yeah. Um, so usually I book a suite in my favorite hotel. Like that is I remember when I met my 46th birthday was the first time that I did that. Like for a long time I wasn't able to do that for myself, even though I could afford it. So I love to stay just one night. Usually we fly into Paris where we live that time of the year, and I get picked up at the airport by my favorite hotel, and we check into a suite, and they know me by now, so it's like filled with balloons and cakes and just my favorite stuff, and it's beautiful. Like so for me it can be the simplest thing, but surrounding myself in beauty like lights me up from the inside. So like flowers are big for me, fresh flowers, beautiful fruit, like the room is white. And so I get in, I'm jet lagged and I walk in and I'm like, it's just so beautiful that like every cell of me feels it. And I just feel like a queen. And then I go and I take a nice nap after the flight in this super comfy bed. And, there's no party, there's no fancy dinner. It's simple in those terms. Like it's just me and my husband, and then we usually go for a nice coffee or something. But it's just being in an environment that makes me feel like a queen, like I'm well celebrated. And it's just like, it's that resonance of like deep down inside, I want this kind of a life experience. And it took me 46 years to begin giving it to myself. And the way it's changed my life, I want every woman to experience it. And it's from that, really, the retreats are like, come and celebrate yourself. Because it just opens something there. It's a remembrance. Someone said to me, like, you reminded me of who I am, of what I want, and what's possible for me if I'm willing to take the step towards it. And so I guess that's what I do for myself every year too. The experience that I'm giving other women, I continue to give to myself every year so that I can keep stretching my own capacity to receive, to celebrate. Yeah.
So beautiful. Yes. Yeah. Beauty is huge. Those codes are just timeless and powerful. Amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where can women listening find you? Because I know they're going to be, oh my goodness, I need more of you. So where can they find you?
Social media is probably the easiest. So it's just at Marta Hobbs, Instagram and Facebook. I have a website, martahobbs.com. I have a book on Amazon, which really gives you a lot more color to the conversation we just began to have. But I love hearing from women from all sorts of places and walks of life. But that's probably the best way to find me.
Fantastic. And we'll put all these links in the show note as well. Thank you so much for expending, being an expender. And, my kids don't have braces, so I have no idea what that is. I love the word expender, and let's keep it. And you definitely are a massive, very powerful, potent activator and expender. So thank you for deciding to step into this role, because you don't have to, yet you are choosing to every day. So thank you for walking this path. We all need it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this beautiful conversation. I'm so thankful just to spend a little bit of time with you. And I hope you have the best birthday. And may this be like the biggest, most massive Lionsgate for everyone tuning in.
Yes. Thank you, my dear.
Thanks.
The information shared on this podcast is for information purposes only and doesn't provide any medical advice. Vanessa Grutman does not cure, diagnose, or treat disease. Please consult your physician before trying any new protocol or product.